Hello and welcome to the program. I'm your host, Neil Howard, here on Health Professional Radio for this Health Supplier segment. Glad that you could join us and make us a part of your day once again. Going to have a conversation with Mr. Nima Shiraz. He's VP of Finance and Operations at Tribeca Companies and also COO with Spoton Sciences. And he's joining us on the program to talk about the next generation of dried blood spot or DBS sample collection. He's also going to touch on their partnership with Tribeca Companies to conduct an expansion of the company's activities into some new global markets. Welcome to the program, Nima. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you very much.
Well, a bit of background about yourself, if you would, please, for our listeners.
Sure, absolutely. Hello. Yes, Nima Shiraz here. I'm the Chief Finance and Operations Officer at a private equity firm in San Francisco called Tribeca Companies and the COO of one of the portfolio companies, Spoton Sciences. I've been with the company for about 14 years, and I've been working with the company since the beginning to essentially identify, make acquisitions, and develop a lot of companies and ventures from ground up, from early startup to all the way to commercialization.
Now, we're talking about various industries, various portfolio companies and so on, not necessarily dealing with healthcare, right?
That is correct. Yeah. Historically, Tribeca Companies has been involved with emerging technologies, even real estate. However, in the recent years, Tribeca has had its primary focus in life sciences, biotech companies, and primarily medical device companies.
You've acquired Spoton Sciences?
We have. We did that about a year ago.
And what are Spoton Sciences involved in? I mentioned in the intro that there was a dried blood spot sample collection. Does that have anything to do possibly with the name Spoton Sciences?
It does. Yes, it absolutely does. The Spoton Sciences is a company that was founded by Dr. Jeanette Hill several years ago, and she developed devices that utilize the dried blood spot technology that, as most of your listeners might be aware, has been around for very many decades. These devices, called the HemoSpot devices, eliminate a lot of challenges and limitations that dried blood spot technology has had. That's essentially hindered its ability to penetrate many markets and sort of dominate and take over the world as a sample collection method. These devices solve a lot of those problems.
What was, in your opinion, I guess the main pitfall, the main challenge when it came to this type of collection?
Well, there are a couple of key challenges. The main one, I would say, is the fact that contamination is a problem with the traditional form of dry blood spot card or DBS, because, essentially these are cards. It's almost, and it utilizes paper, and you put the sample on it and you ship it. And, in the shipping process, the sample gets smeared, and it gets contaminated. And a significant percentage of dry blood spot cards are thrown away on an annual basis. There is a second challenge that DBS has had, and that's the fact that the samples are not very stable. And the reason that they're not stable is that they take a long time for the sample to dry from the moment that you apply it to the DBS card. And our devices have the ability to accelerate the drying process, and therefore sample remains stable for up to 30 days, which is revolutionary in the field of sample storage collection.
So you've solved the drying problem. What about contamination? Even though the samples are now drying faster, how are you addressing the contamination possibilities in shipping? I mean, you've got different containers, you've got different people handling them.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm glad you asked that. So yes, the devices, they're plastic clamshells, and inside of the clamshells, we have the applicator that protects the paper, and then the paper is essentially placed underneath it with desiccants that dries the sample. These clamshells, they close and lock. Therefore, the devices immediately upon applying the sample, they become tamper evident and moisture proof and can be shipped to anywhere in the world without regulation or any sort of scrutiny in the process. So that's how we take care of the contamination problem.
Is there any added weight or anything like that in the shipping process? Is the added protection going to offset any of the cost? And is that going to be, relative to the samples that would have been thrown away had they not been utilizing your system?
That's an excellent question. And the answer to that is no. We haven't had a problem in terms of weight of the shipments. The plastics are extremely light. So if there's any difference in the weight between DBS cards and our devices, it's trivial.
Did you mention there being also a challenge with distribution worldwide, or it becoming, the staple form of sample collection on a worldwide basis? Was there a challenge other than the two that we talked about, on the distribution side as opposed to the contamination or the speed of drying side?
Those two are the key ones that I can think of. And, if I may clarify, DBS cards are sold in millions globally. And so they are very much high in demand. What our devices promise to do is to replace the DBS technology, make it so much better, but also open doors to many other possibilities. Whereas before, DBS would have never been considered because of the same problems as we discussed, contamination and sample stability.
Are there any other healthcare endeavors that Tribeca companies are involved in?
Yes. I cannot speak to the specifics of some of those ventures.
Understood.
However, there are a number of ventures that we've invested in. They're in development phases. Some of the companies that we've acquired and a few that are down the pipeline. Yes, but the answer to that is correct. Absolutely.
Well, where can our listeners go online and get some more information about Tribeca Companies and about Spoton Sciences as well? TribecaCompanies.com and SpotonSciences.com. There's a lot of good information on the Spoton Sciences website about what makes each device very unique and the capabilities of them, because the devices go well above and beyond just eliminating the contamination and essentially making the drying process faster. Each device has additional capabilities. So there's a lot of information about that to read on the website as well. And I'm happy to share that information with you too. Well, thank you very much, Nima, for joining us here on Health Professional Radio for this Health Suppliers segment. And I'm hoping that we'll talk again.
My pleasure. Thank you so much.
You've been listening to Health Professional Radio. I'm your host, Neil Howard. Transcripts and audio of this program are available at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au. You can also subscribe to this podcast on iTunes, listen in, and download at SoundCloud. And be sure and visit our affiliates page at hpr.fm and healthprofessionalradio.com.au.
Thank you for listening to Health Professional Radio. We're very proud to be an independent broadcaster providing our content free of charge to you, the listener. One of the ways that we're able to remain free and independent is by having people like you become patrons. You can support Health Professional Radio simply by visiting hpr.fm and clicking the button that says Become a Patron. Your patronage of even just $1 a month lets us know that you're there, which in turn makes us more valuable to advertisers. And, of course, if you're able to afford more, then we would certainly appreciate the support. My name is Toby Longhurst from Health Professional Radio. Please visit hpr.fm, click the Become a Patron button, and support us if you can.